Hey there and welcome to another live. Today we're just going to go with it and just see what happens. Yeah, I'm just going to go with it and just see what happens. I was thinking about doing one about a live about like anxiety again, but the last two lives I've done have been about that, so I don't want to get stuck on one topic. Although I am very passionate about it, but I'm also very passionate about Reiki, and also energy healing and spirituality. So I thought I'd jump on a live. So I'm here to answer any questions that might get asked by anyone that joins, whether it's to do with Reiki or energy healing, crystals, meditation, anything to do with that, anything to do with that sort of stuff. That field of work that I love. I love to work with. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of time for people to jump onto the live before we get going, because I can't do anything without any questions. So so the last couple of lives that I've done have been very kind of focused on obviously anxiety and ways to deal with anxiety, and I've also been doing some art alongside that as well. So I've been doing some drawing. Because art is a really, really good way to be able to alleviate any symptoms of anxiety, to be able to alleviate the stuff that goes on in the mind, the overthinking, and it's a really good mindfulness practice that we can use in everyday life, and we can use that whenever we're feeling anxious, whenever we're feeling uptight, whenever we're feeling stressed. Then we can always fall back to the things that we love to do, the things that we love to use, such as art, such as creativity, such as crafts, such as gardening, such as maybe even cooking, sometimes even housework. Some people like doing housework to be able to, de-stress, because the actual act of doing housework as well is not just a physical act, it's not just a physical thing, it's also an energetic thing. So as you're cleaning your home, you're also cleaning the energy of the dust and the physical dust, but also the energy of what's being left in the room. You're also cleansing away the energy of maybe other people that have been in that space, that maybe they've left some energetic debris in there. So you're also doing that. And also with your intention, as you're cleaning around and working around your home, you're working on that as well, to be able to shift all that sort of stuff. What is this channel about? Alpha Lion. So Alpha Lion, this channel is about Reiki, spirituality, meditation, crystals, healing, mental health, ways of being able to help with mental health, anxiety, stress, being able to reduce stress, because stress reduction in everyday life is a massive factor, and stress plays a huge factor on our overall health, our overall well-being. When we're stressed, it affects our liver, it affects our hormone production, you create more stress hormones in the body. Spirituality, basically, all that sort of stuff. So if that's something that interests you, hit that subscribe button. And thanks for joining. Thanks for asking the question. And you're very welcome here to join in and ask any more questions while you are here. What is my name? My name's Ian, Op777 Cent Gamer. Do let us know what your name is, and also what was it about the title of this video that drew you in? Was it the questions? Was it the question and answer thing? Was it the Reiki? Was it the spirituality? Was it the healing? What was it that brought you in here onto this live? So just a little bit of a question to you as well. So as I was saying about sort of the energetic cleaning around your home. Okay, bye-bye. Have a lovely day. So you're not just doing the physical cleaning, you're also energetically cleaning as well around your home, especially with your intention. If your intention is to remove and shift all of that sort of stuff around the home, then the intention is everything. It's an energy form that you're putting out there. And it's the same as when you want to sage your room, or you want to cleanse the energy in a room with some crystals, sage, Palo Santo, sound, singing bowls. It's all about intention. So at the end of the day, it always comes from us. So, we are the controlling factor of all that. So what made you come to the experience of seeking enlightenment? I don't think I was actually intentionally seeking enlightenment as such. It was more to do with my own mental health, my own place where I was in the world, with dealing with depression, anxiety, panic attacks, some physical issues, skin issues, joint issues, which over time have become a lot better and a lot more alleviated. I now no longer take any sort of medication to assist with any of that sort of stuff. And I've continued this journey for the last probably over 20 years now. I've been doing it, where I've been trying different things, finding what works for me, ditching what doesn't work for me, because we're all different. We all find different ways and different techniques of being able to work on our own energy, in a way. And along that journey, especially during the mental health years, that's when a lot of this awakening or enlightenment, as you might want to call it, that's when a lot of that stuff started to happen, because the meditation really kind of opened my consciousness to a whole other world of being. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. That's lovely of you to say. So thank you. And thank you for being here. Thank you for the questions. Great questions as well. Yeah, so that was kind of like the journey of where I began. And I didn't really know it was enlightenment or awakening or some sort of spiritual journey to begin with, because it was very, very up and down. It was very turbulent. There was still a lot of stuff that I had to work through with the meditation. But the meditation helped to give me a lot of clarity of mind. That's what was so profound about it. It was almost like as soon as I started meditating, this light went on, like within me, and I became more clear as where I needed to go. And I used this analogy yesterday on the live, and I was just saying in there, if you think of yourself as like a jar of water, because we are 85% water, if you think of yourself as this jar of water, and you've got loads of sand or sediment in it, and if you shake, and it's got a lid on the top, if you shake that jar up, you've got all that sediment churning around inside of it, and you can't see through the water very clearly. But when you let it settle and let it stop, you're able to see through the water quite clearly. And that's kind of, for me, that's the analogy I like to use when we go into meditation. So we let everything settle, we let everything calm down. Once everything settles and the sediment sinks, then you can see much more clearly through all the crap that's going on in life, basically. You get a lot more clarity and a lot more validation of the path that you need to take and where you need to go. What am I yapping on about? Well, if you don't know what I'm yapping on about meditation, I'm yapping on about my journey, mental health, and ways that I've used to be able to heal myself over the years from that, using different techniques such as mindfulness, meditation, Reiki, and then different practices I've learned over the years to now become like a Reiki teacher. I practice hypnotherapy as well and that sort of stuff. So thank you. Thank you, Alex. Yep. So yeah, so I mean, if you are just joining, if this is something that interests you, if this channel interests you, if you're interested into looking outside of your 3D reality, if you're wanting to look for something a little bit deeper, on a deeper level, then that's kind of like what I cover on this channel, and that's what a lot of my subscribers and viewers like to hear as well. They want to go a little bit deeper on some level, but some people aren't ready for that as well. So that's another thing we have to take into account, is that we're all on different sort of conscious evolutionary levels. And there's some people that just don't get it, and that's fine. And there's some people that are really, really ready for it and really open for it and are looking for something different. They can see the damage in the world. They can see the people that are maybe living on the streets, or they have mental health problems, or they're struggling with maybe ADHD or other things that are just not really overly well known about. And a lot of people are looking into other forms of being able to work with the mind and body connection. And that's another aspect of what I talk about on this channel as well, and a lot on these lives, especially to do with, because these lives now, they're going to be a lot more, what's the word, more functional really for the viewer, so you can take more from it. Such as, like yesterday, I did a workshop about anxiety. So my workshop that I did yesterday was just about that. It was about anxiety and about the different techniques you can use in everyday life to be able to work on your anxiety. The day before that, I was talking more about art and using art as a mindfulness technique. So there's lots of different ways of being able to tap in to that, to be able to calm the nervous system down. At the end of the day, that's the key to everything. The key to everything is your nervous system. Once you started to calm that down, you start to calm your mind down. Once you calm your mind down, you calm your emotional state down, then your body becomes more relaxed, and that's when you go more into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is where you're more in the rest and digest mode of the body. So you're more able to relax into situations easy. You'll probably sleep better. You won't get as stressed as easily, and you'll probably be more open to other practices and other holistic practices as well, because you're not so in the head, you're not so in the mind, and you're not so. The other thing as well is a lot of people fear approaching anything differently and anything outside of the box, because that might make people look at them. So that's an element of healing that they need to work on themselves. And that's where I had to look as well. I had to look at that point myself, because I thought, well, what are people going to think if I start doing all this stuff that people call like woo-woo or whatever? And it got to a point after a while where I just thought, you know what, I don't give a shit really what people think. At the end of the day, they've got their life, I've got my life, and I know what works for me. And if that doesn't work for them, then that's not of my concern. Then they need to go and find their own way of working on themselves and finding their own path, and not just pointing a finger at somebody else. Because if that's all you can do, is point at somebody else, then you've got a lot of healing internally that you need to do yourself as well. Because you don't want to look at yourself. You want to look at everybody else and point at everybody else's failures, or because they're a little bit different. So yeah, and that's the other thing about this world, and the way people are, is because we've got so much divide, this divide and conquer thing. We've got so much divide in the world, and that creates more anxiety. It creates more stress, because people don't know how to be themselves anymore. They really don't. They have no idea how to be themselves. And we're usually always fixating on the external. So we're looking to the external. So it's either somebody else that you can point at, or it's the buying the new car or the new house, or you can buy, whatever it is externally to try and bring you some happiness. But at the end of the day, they only bring you fleeting happiness. The happiness is already there within you. You just got to find it. You've got to peel back all them layers. So yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of it. And so yeah, so any questions, any answers? Again, if you haven't subscribed, and if this information is something that maybe intrigues you or brings a little bit of curiosity into your day, then subscribe to the channel and check out my playlists. I've got loads of playlists on here with guided meditations, hypnosis sessions, Reiki sessions. I talk about crystals, art sessions where I'm just doing art and painting and drawing, and you can just watch some of the either time-lapse videos where they're sped up, or some longer videos where I'm on a live painting or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I've always loved art, and I've always loved the mindful effect you get from art and creativity. And yeah, bringing something out into the world that maybe has just been in your mind. You might just visualize something in your mind and you think, well, where's that come from? So then you just go and paint it, you create it because you feel like it. You know, there's no harm in that. You just feel like it, so you just do it. Yeah, I've used tarot as well. Yeah, I use a little bit of tarot. I don't do it as much these days. But it's interesting, tarot. It really is. Again, it's one of them things where it depends on your vibrational state of where you are to be able to read the cards effectively. Um, yeah, it's interesting. And a lot of people say as well, a lot of my older videos where I used to do tarot readings, and I used to get a lot of comments saying, well, you shouldn't do tarot, you're working with the devil, it's all black magic and all this sort of crap, you know. So, and it isn't. You're just working with your own intuition, you're working with your own energy, you're working with what you feel. It might be right, it might be wrong, but the more you practice, the more you develop yourself. So, but I don't practice much with tarot or anything much these days. Just every now and again, I might dabble a little bit. Dr. Diabetes, that's a name and a half, isn't it? Hey, Dr. Dr. Diabetes. How are you? Are you well? I hope you're well. I can't do a backflip, I'm afraid, no. Many apologies. But any questions about, what I've put in the title, Reiki or spirituality, things like that, then feel free. But I hope everyone's having a good day. Let me know what you've been up to. Let me know where you're from as well. Whereabouts in the world are you from? You might know that I'm in the UK, so you might gather. But it's been quite an interesting day. I had quite a bit on. I had a few clients on today, so that's been good. South Wales. Dr. Diabetes is in China. A long way away. It must be like tomorrow in China, is it? How many hours ahead are you in China? It must be about 8-9 hours, something like that. I'm not sure about South Wales. Jojo C, I love your art. Thank you, Jojo. 100 hours. Wow. You must be in a totally different dimension. Can you ask me something, Jojo? You can. Yeah, you can ask me. What's going on in China at the moment, Dr. Diabetes? Anything interesting? Can I show my arm tattoo? It looks cool. It's just a snake. I did it a long, long time ago. And I was meaning for years to sort of get another one on the other arm and get more art done and things like that, but it never happened. I never got any further with it. I sort of lost interest for a while. I don't really have much of an interest in getting any more tattoos, to be fair. I've kind of gone off the ball with them. Hello from Body Scotland, Dr. Bin. I hope I get 100 viewers. I hope I get 100 viewers as well. It would be nice to get some more. I think my last live that I did, I got over 100 views in total. So Dr. Bin, I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you? I had a good day. I hope you have too. Over in China, 100 hours ahead. Good. I'm glad you're well. I'm glad you're doing well. So I'm guessing if you're 100 hours ahead, you must be on like Sunday morning by now. So what you're up to today? Thanks for all the hearts and the laughy faces, by the way. It all helps my algorithm, so it's all good. It all helps this live get seen. Don't forget to subscribe as well. China sounds beautiful. It's Friday night here. Netflix and chill. What are you watching on Netflix at the minute? What's your program of choice currently? So the other thing you'll be able to find as well is I'm going to be doing a lot more sort of short, informative shorts on the channel as well. So like sort of 1 minute shorts, just with little techniques, little things you can do to sort of like reduce stress levels, reduce any anxiety, to help to ground your energy a little bit, maybe a little bit of a chakra thing as well. Thank you, Dr. Bain. Thanks for subscribing. It's much appreciated. Netflix and chill with your mum. Sounds good. So I did, I think it was maybe yesterday or the day before, I did a short about Reiki, kind of like just explaining as quickly as I could in a minute about what Reiki is. So do go and check that out as well. You might go live later, you're just having a few beers and chilling. Jolly good. What do you do on your channel, Dr. Bin? What do you talk about? What do you cover? It's nice to meet other creators to see what they're up to, and it seems to be really hard at the minute to get sort of views, subscribers, likes, engagement. It's quite tricky at the minute over here. I don't know how you're finding it, but or you post videos of the dog and you chat to the chat. Yeah, dog videos always get lots of views. Especially the ones with like dogs talking or howling, like the huskies and what have you. Yeah, I've posted a few on the channel. Helps to keep you company in your mental health a little bit. Yeah, it's good to chat. It's good to talk. Every now and again you get the weirdos in, but you just kind of like just let them get on with it, and or boot them out if you need to. But yeah, most people are pretty okay, to be fair, on the lives. Dr. Diabetes' plane is going down. You're not supposed to use your phone on the plane, you know. That's probably why. Turn your phone off. Put it in airplane mode and you might rectify your situation. I also post like longer form videos. I'm trying to post every Monday and Friday as well. on the channel. Oh, right. It was in the movie you were watching. The plane was going down with your mum. Right, okay. Is the film that you're watching The Mummy? Is that what you mean? Are you watching The Mummy? Or are you watching it with your mummy? You haven't been live for long, maybe a month or so. Do you just do lives? I think, don't you need over so many subscribers to do lives? Is it over 500? I don't know, because I keep changing the mind about how many subscribers you need to do different things. Because originally it was 4,000 watch hours to get monetized, and then I dropped it to 3,000, but that wasn't for actual monetization, it was for super chat and memberships and things like that you can add on to your channel as well to make a little bit of income from YouTube. And then after that it was 4,000 watch hours to get monetization from the videos before and after your videos, after your lives or your videos that you've made and put out there. Yeah, but it's strange. It's quite tricky, and it's tricky trying to work out like keywords and things like that. But something I found really useful, I did use vidIQ for a while, and that was quite helpful. It gave me an insight into how you can how to create thumbnails and how to make clear thumbnails, and also what was the other thing? It was good for like creating the titles and giving you sort of interesting ways to think about how to title your videos and the keywords and your hashtags and things like that. So yeah, but recently I've started using ChatGTP, which has been quite useful as well. It gives you lots of ideas for thumbnails, what to put on the thumbnail, and it'll even help you create a thumbnail if you wanted. So yeah. Stanley Kramer says, hi Stanley Kramer. Sid, try fading your beard. It's a good idea. It's quite a light beard though. I have quite a light beard, so when it gets to a certain length you don't really see it. So yeah. But yes, that's something I've been using quite a lot lately. Like the last sort of maybe this last sort of week, I've been a bit reluctant to use it for a while, but since downloading it and using it, it's given me loads of ideas. It's given me loads of content ideas, business ideas, blueprint ideas for doing workshops and things like that. So it's been really, really helpful, really useful. Do ASMR. Yeah, I've tried ASMR, but my microphone isn't like strong enough. I don't think the microphone's as sensitive enough as it needs to be. But I have tried it before with a couple of videos, like a Reiki video and a meditation. I tried to do some ASMR stuff. Yeah, I might give it another go. I know ASMR gets high views, gets a lot of, but so there's a lot of competition there as well. So yeah. Dr. Diabetes, you have some strange comments. Two little, I don't know what they look like, little aliens. I'm not sure what they are. I think it's aliens, I'm not sure. Little green things. Yeah, so what was I talking about? Yeah, ChatGTP. So yeah, because I was looking into ASMR. I quite like ASMR. I don't watch it as much as I used to. When I first started learning to meditate, I used it quite a lot. I found it very, very relaxing. It helped me to calm my mind and calm my anxiety, because I got all them nice little tingles you get off ASMR. But I don't listen to it as much now as what I used to. But I think there's that much out there now. There's that much available on YouTube, on TikTok, on Rumble, all the different other streaming platforms as well. There's just so much out there that is accessible to us. And in one way, that's really good for people to have access to that. But in another way, as a content creator, it's like trying to stand out from that as well. It's quite difficult. So has anyone got any questions about Reiki or energy healing or anything like that? Anything to do with meditation, helping your mental health, helping anxiety, helping your stress levels, anything like that, then feel free to drop me a question. And obviously, if any of those subjects as well sort of pique your interest, and it's something that you've heard about but not really that sure about, then subscribe to the channel, because this channel's packed with all that sort of information. I've got various playlists. I've got over 1,000 videos now, short and long form videos, with different stuff in there: meditations, Reiki sessions, EFT sessions, hypnotherapy, all sorts. So it's a bit of a smorgasbord of content to go and have a look at. So feel free to do that. Thanks for all the likes as well. So I've got 6 likes on the live so far. So if we can get some more, give us some more thumbs up. Let's see if we can get us up to 10 likes. Hello, Dr. Dixon. How are you? And how's your day treated you today? I hope you're doing well. All good, jolly good. Sometimes we have to do things that don't like to, I don't want to. I don't want to shut people up, but sometimes people just say things just to, I don't know, just to get a rise or whatever. But you just think, well, why? If you're not enjoying it, if this is of no interest to you, then go somewhere else instead of just prattling about, basically. That's how people get the kicks, it's just attention, because they're lacking attention in other areas of their life, unfortunately. That's what happened. That's a couple of jobs that I've worked in, where I've worked in retail, and you get all these stupid teenagers that just come in and try and cause bother just because they want attention, because they don't get it at home. It just shows you how bad their home life is and how bad the parenting must be, because they just don't get any attention. It's a shame. It's a shame, really. But if you're gonna bring life into the world, then at least nurture it to be the best that it can be, rather than allowing it to be just a waste of space, really. And I think everyone at some point in their life, that they get to a point where, I did as well, with a lot of self-discovery. I mean, I never did things like that in my teen years or whatever. But as you get older, you start to want to just live a more peaceful life. I think when you get sort of maybe 35, 40 and up over, you're just looking for a little bit more peace in your life, and you just want things just to settle down, and you just want an easy life. And yeah, you probably go to bed earlier, you probably don't go out as much, and that's fine, because usually you find, and what I found was, when you do go out, all you get is stress, tension, drama. You get everybody else's negative energy, and you're taking that home with you to try and sort out or percolate with, under the influence of alcohol or some other substance as well, So yeah, those years for me were just, it wasn't good. It was time to find a different path, and that's why I moved on to a totally different trajectory, because that wasn't really for me. Even when I was going out and I was drinking and getting pissed up, goodness knows how many times a week, the inside of me was just saying, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? It just wasn't for me. It didn't resonate with me. But I did it just to follow, and that's like, so what I was saying earlier on in this live. Sometimes we sort of put ourselves on other people, or we want to be somebody else, or we want to create this version of ourselves, because we think maybe on some level we aren't enough. Thanks, Jojo. I'm really happy with myself as well. And, when I was like 18, 20-year-old, this would probably be what I do now with the Reiki and the spirituality. And I would never have ever thought I would be doing anything like this. But I suppose you don't think of that at that sort of age. It's only when life throws you a bit of a curveball that you realize that you need to do something. So you just have to find that change, and the change always comes from you. It doesn't come from anybody else. It doesn't come from pointing fingers, pointing blame. It doesn't come from causing friction or disturbances or arguments. It just comes from you. Everything comes from you. Am I Buddhist? I'm not. I wouldn't say I was Buddhist. I'm not. I don't really think of myself as anything, really. I don't follow a religion. I'm not religious. Buddhism isn't a religion. It's a set of structures and beliefs that people live by. I try to live by Buddhist teachings. I do use some Buddhist teachings, especially alongside the Reiki that I practice. So a lot of Buddhist teachings I really, really resonate with, but I also resonate with a lot of shamanic teachings as well. So I love shamanism. I love paganism. I love the connection to the earth. I love the connection to nature. And I see God in everything. I see God in all life. I see, the Buddha nature, or Christ consciousness, whatever you want to, or the divine, whatever you want to call it. I see God in everything. So I try not to do any harm. I try not to kill anything. I try not to upset anybody. I try to live my life as harmoniously and as in line with my values as I can. And if that doesn't please people, then it's no skin off my nose. Just let them get on with whatever path they want to go down. Because we all meander down the same pathway. We just have to go. Some of us have to just go down many lifetimes. If you believe in reincarnation, which I do, we all go down very many different pathways of soul discovery and soul retrieval. And soul retrieval is basically just coming back to you. It's coming back to yourself, and finding that aspect of you that is, it's that spiritual aspect of you that is ever present, but it's also healing the part of yourself from different lifetimes, from past lifetimes. It's healing aspects of yourself from future lifetimes. It's being more in connection with your own energy and your higher self, and maybe your spirit guides if you're into that. And that is kind of like what your soul retrieval is. It's just bringing everything back together, because we're all fragments of one soul, of the oversoul, of God's source energy, or the divine, the universe, whatever you want to call it. We're all fragments of that. And science proves that energy can't die. It can only transform into other ways. So obviously, when we pass away, the physical remains, they deteriorate, but the energy of who we were, our consciousness, lives on, to become something or somebody else. And maybe there's another path of learning that we need to go down. I will not let anyone change who I am. Not anymore. I used to, when I was a bit of a people pleaser, and I used to always be, if people wanted to go out and I just didn't feel up to it, and I was exhausted and I was tired and I hadn't slept from being so anxious driven and panic attacks, but they wanted me to go out, so in the end I would people please them and I would go out and I would just feel absolutely dreadful and absolutely awful, and I wouldn't enjoy it, and eventually I'd just get absolutely hammered and go home wasted and in a totally unharmonious way, and think, why the hell did I do that? Why the hell did I bother? Why? But I kept doing it over and over again. I wasn't learning. I wasn't listening to my soul. I wasn't listening to myself. I was just so in here, in the head, that I wasn't being true to myself. I wasn't being honest with myself. And that's one of the principles of Reiki. Is to live your life in your own harmonious manner. Living your life honestly, living your life with integrity. So, and there's 5 Reiki. If you don't know, there's 5 Reiki principles. There's letting go of anger. There's letting go of worry. There's being grateful. There is living your life honestly and with integrity, and there's being kind to all life. So there's 5 Reiki principles that we try to uphold and live by. And these come from like Buddhist teachings. There's many, many more as well beyond that. But the living your life honestly and with integrity. See, a lot of people think that letting go of anger, letting go of worry, and being grateful and living your life honestly and being kind to all. A lot of people, I think that is kind of a remedy for being kind of a bit of a pushover and being quite soft. But actually, if you're being honest with yourself and you're being honest with other people and being kind to other people, sometimes the kindest act you can do for other people is by saying goodbye and pushing them away, or allowing them to go on their own journey, to go on their own way. And sometimes that's the most honest thing people can do with themselves, is to tell people to just, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be with that person anymore. I don't want to have that connection anymore. They aren't serving me my highest purpose. So that's being honest. Some people might think, well, it's a bit heartless, but it's not. You're being true to yourself. You're listening to your intuition. You're listening to your heart, and you're being honest to who you are. And you're upholding your own teachings. I think everybody should have 5 to 10, philosophies for themselves, or maybe like 10 mantras for themselves, or a list of principles that they want to live by. I think everybody should have that, and being kind and being caring and loving and nurturing and living honestly, and living with trust, being like allowing yourself to be trusted, but also for other people to trust you. I think that there has to be an element of that with everybody. I think everybody should have that in their lives. Because if we don't, we haven't got any integrity with ourselves. So we just become empty, because we have no core principles, no core values that we want to stick by. So yeah, I mean, I'll throw that over to you guys that are watching. What do you think some core values are that we should have, that we should all have in life? That we should all use for each other to become happier in life, to become more harmonious in life. Just throw a few ideas out that you think that we should all have, maybe values that we should uphold and live by. I think the first one, I'll throw mine out there. I think we should all love ourselves first. We should all love ourselves first unconditionally. Before we think about loving anybody else, love yourself first. It's the most powerful thing you can do. If you love yourself first, that love will shine and it will radiate into other people's lives. It will radiate into other connections that you make. And they will feel that love. They will feel that vibration from you. They will feel that level of peace that you have within yourself. And it's that level of peace and that love it's magnetic. It also repels people as well. You see that a lot. Some of the people that have been in here tonight that have like sort of just said things just for, I don't know, just for the sake of saying it or whatever, or just trying to wind people up or whatever. I don't know. But that if you have belief in yourself and you've got strength and morals and values that you want to live by, that you want to uphold, then obviously you love yourself enough to want to uphold those. If you didn't love yourself, then you wouldn't uphold any values. You would let the values just fall away. You wouldn't really care. So once you start to love yourself, a whole new dynamic starts to take place in the mind and internally within your energy body and within your emotional body. So we're made up of 4 different bodies. We're made up obviously of the physical body. You've got your emotional body, you've got your mental body, and you've got your spiritual body. And they all work in harmony. They all work together. So if any of those are out of whack, then you will feel disturbance in your energy. If we think of the Star Wars films, when Darth Vader or Obi-Wan says, I feel a disturbance in the Force, it's because they're tuning into that energy that is all around us. And George Lucas knew this. George Lucas was very much into this realm of work. He was very much into energy and understanding energy a little bit deeper. So when they talk about the Force, it's your life force energy. And when Yoda talks about it, when he's talking to Luke Skywalker about it, he says it flows through everything. It flows through all life, the plants, nature. It's all around us. It's in everything. And ancient Chinese philosophies and cultures, Japan, shamanism, Indian cultures, a lot of Eastern cultures really, really steeped in this ancient mysticism that is this energy, that is this life force. And the China calls it chi, the Japanese ki, in India, prana. So it's got all these different names and all these different terminologies, but it's all the same thing. It's all something that we all consist of on some level. But when you start living more harmoniously and start living more in the heart, you start living more in the frequency of love and having compassion for others and living in joy and following your soul calling, following what you feel you should be doing in life, not just following the money, not just following the paycheck to paycheck, not just following the Monday to Friday and then the weekend you go out and get pissed up. That is not following your soul. That's following just the 3D reality and trying to cover things up with external aspects of the 3D reality. But when you start following that, you start following your soul and you start listening to your soul and listening to your intuition, listening to the divine, to God, to whatever you want to call it. It's your own little name, whatever you have, your spirit guides, your soul, whatever you want to call it. When you start listening to that, then you start really tuning into your path, the journey that you need to take, the feelings that come up on that journey. And it's not easy. Sometimes it's really, really hard. Some days, like just a couple of days ago, I was really struggling energetically, emotionally, mentally. I just felt so heavy. I felt so dark. I felt so like I was just walking through glue, and I wasn't sleeping very well. And I really didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was causing it. But I did a few practices, and then the next day I had a salt bath as well, which was really good. The next day I felt much better. I felt much lighter. But sometimes we have to go through these cycles. We have to go through this churning effect to lift stuff up. And as we lift stuff up from within, you feel that sort of like heaviness. You feel like, oh my God, I feel so tired. Oh my God, I feel so emotional. Or you feel mentally fatigued, or physically fatigued, or what. You just feel drained, physically drained as well. Once you get past it, then things start to get a little bit lighter. But as you start incorporating these little practices into your life, things energetically become easier to manage. Things become more clear. So as I was mentioning at the beginning of this live, well, not quite the beginning, but earlier on in the beginning of this live, I was talking about when you go into meditation, this is the analogy that I use a lot of the time, is if you think of yourself as like a clear glass jar full of water, and you've got a lid on top, and within that water you've got a load of sediment, and if you shake that glass up and down, and then all that sediment starts to move around in the water, and you can't really see through the water because of all the sediment. But when you start to just let everything settle, and you just still your mind, still your body, still your emotions, and eventually things become clear. So you get clarity of mind, you get clearer emotions. When you start to get clearer emotions, you can also start to work on your emotional body within. So your emotional body is within your meridians. So in acupuncture, acupressure, shiatsu, Reiki, Indian head massage, other forms of massage, acupuncture, all that sort of stuff is working around your meridians. And this is where your emotions become locked and they become stuck. So if you don't heal and don't deal with the emotion, it becomes trapped in your energetic body. And if it's trapped and stuck in your energetic body for a while, that's when you start to experience energy. They're not blockages. A lot of people call them blockages, but they're not energy blockages. It's more like there's a little bit of stagnation with the energy, or it's not quite flowing quite freely. And if you think of like a wire, the wires you get in, your wiring, obviously. And sometimes you get little kinks in the wire and you have to straighten the kinks out before the electrical flow through. That's the same with us. So our energy body, those kinks need to be sort of straightened out for the energy to flow easier. Once the energy starts to flow easier, then you start to release some of these emotions. They become trapped in the body. So through those modalities that I've just been talking about, plus many more as well, you're working on that energy that becomes a little bit sluggish, a little bit slow. Reflexology is another great one as well. And so usually as well, your emotional things that you feel, emotional stuff you always tend to feel around here, so solar plexus. So if you get criticism, if you get hate, so lower vibrational emotions, you will feel here in the stomach, lower down. So probably about a year or two ago, I was really struggling with acid reflux. And I was thinking, what is this? And I'd been suffering with it for a long, long time. So I wanted to sit down and I wanted to talk to my body and find out what it was. So I sat down with it. I closed my eyes, took a few deep breaths in, went into a bit of a meditation, and I just talked to my body. And I said, okay, stomach, what is it? Why am I getting this reflux? And the message came back, anger. You've got anger blocked in your stomach. And I thought, well, I'm not an angry person, but okay, maybe there is. Maybe there's something I'm holding on to that I'm not aware of. So I just sat with it. So I just started talking to this anger, it's like an entity form in the body. And I says, okay, anger, I do not give you permission to be here anymore. Okay, anger, I want you out of my body. Okay, anger, I'm going to let you go. I do not need you in my life anymore. I just kept repeating it over and over again. Okay, anger, you can go. I don't want you. I release you. I'm letting you go. I don't need this anger in my life anymore. And it sort of started getting a little bit worse and a little bit worse. But eventually, I let out this huge belch. And then that was it. Ever since then, I've had no stomach issues whatsoever. Totally subsided because I was tuning into the energy, what was in my stomach. I was listening to it. So that's the other aspect of this. So when you become more sensitive within the work that you're doing and you're listening to your own energy, you can tune into your own energy body and your own physical body, and you talk to it, you listen to it. And it's something that I do in hypnotherapy sessions as well. So when I'm doing hypnotherapy, I'll ask people to scan the body. When they get them into the nice hypnotic state, I'll ask them to scan the body and go down the body from head to toe. And I'll ask them just to let me know of any areas of the body that they feel any pain, any disturbance, anything that doesn't feel like it should be there. And we work on the energy, we clear the energy before we go into the hypnosis session any further. So yeah, it's very, very interesting when you start sort of delving deeper and deeper into it. And just listening to your body. Your body and your intuition is the greatest tool that we've ever been given. And the whole reason why society is the way it is, and the whole reason why the media is the way it is, and the world is the way it is, it's trying to disconnect you from that connection. With all the fear, with all the war, with all the destruction, with all the mainstream media, the news, the newspapers, the this, the politics, the red, the blue, the this, all the different politics that we see around the world, with all of that stuff going on, and then you've got things like your pharmaceuticals being thrown into the mix, you've got all your food that's being thrown into the mix, you've got all the chemicals that are being put onto your food, the water that's got goodness knows what in it, that's been just reprocessed millions of times. It's probably got like shit in it and all sorts, but it's getting just reprocessed over and over again, and more chemicals thrown into it. It's just a cocktail of stuff that is going on. So then we just kind of, you're looking for ways to try and heal your body in a way. And listen to your body, and listen to what your body's craving. Especially with a lot of processed food as well. When you look at processed foods, you see people's, it drives me crazy, but hey ho, they do what they want to do. But you see people queuing up for like McDonald's, and Burger King and KFC and all this stuff, and you just think, you have no idea what is in a lot of that stuff. It's just like, just don't do it, don't go for it. But it's got something, there's something in it that's like this, makes it very addictive. And when you start watching movies and TV shows, so I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but there's a TV show called Supernatural. It's got Sam and Dean Winchester in it, Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles. Love the show. Season 7, I think it was the season with the Leviathans in. So the Leviathans basically were these lower entity beings that basically God had created in the Old Testament to get rid of a lot of stuff, get rid of a lot of crap that was around. And anyway, these Leviathans had come back to the earth plane, come back to the earth level through Castiel, who was an angel. Keep up with me, I know it's a little bit out there. But these Leviathan, the plan was to feed the population this food that had something in it that made it very, very Moorish, and it dumbed them down. And it's kind of like what's happening, but people don't see it, don't realize what is happening. And so yeah, So it's just trying to find ways that we can reconnect back to ourselves. And one of the clearest and best ways is to get into nature. Get near some trees, walk barefoot on grass, walk barefoot on the sand, and you reconnect back to nature. You reconnect back to who we should be, who we originally were. Yeah, so it's... Thanks, Mr. Clubber Lang. It's a great name. Yeah, so that's, I mean, you might have felt it before when you've been and you've walked on, say, the beach. If you're on the beach for maybe 15, 20 minutes and you come off the beach and you feel better for it, when you're in bare feet on the sand, and there's something in that, there's a reason for that. And that's why I always talk about having salt baths. Salt baths are really, really good to rebalance your energy. And again, walking on grass as well, it's really good for taking away all the positive ions that are floating around your energy field, because we're energy beings at the end of the day. We're not this meat suit. We are energy in form. And it's just trying to find ways to reconnect to that divine energy that is within each and every one of us, and that's what a lot of the world out there is trying to split. It's trying to sever that connection. And in some respects, the church has a little bit to blame in that. This is going to be a little bit of a taboo subject, but there's a lot of programming and control within the church. So they often say that only the Pope can have that connection to God. But we all have it. Why don't they let us all meditate? Why don't they teach meditation in schools? I know some schools have started that, but I think it should be mainstream. I think if we can get people more connected to their energy body, to their consciousness, to their intuition as early as possible, because when you think about when a baby's born and it's all young and what have you, for the first year or two, it's just pure joy and love, and it's only as it gets older through life, it gets all this stuff thrown onto it, that becomes, you start to get a little bit locked in, and you start to lose that essence a little bit through all of that stuff. And that's basically what me and many other people, that's what we're looking for. Yeah, absolutely. There's that. I was just talking about that before. People do not make it easy for each other because there's this thing within the world that is going on that we know as like divide and conquer as well. So you've got so many things that are set up to create splits. Politics is probably the first easiest one to pick on. Because if you vote for one side and somebody else votes for the other, straight away there's arguments, and that's just one. But it goes through everything in life. Male, female, non-gender. That came into play for a while. The sexuality. All that sort of stuff. There's so much that is out there that gets thrown about, again, to create because everyone's got an opinion, everyone's got the ego, and once we start to balance the ego, again, that's something that the mainstream world doesn't want you to do. It doesn't want you to balance your ego, because once you start to balance your ego and understand what it's actually there for, you become more in tune with your intuition. So the more you can fire someone's ego up, the more they lose that connection of soul connection of intuition. So yeah, absolutely right. People do try and screw themselves over, basically, and screwing others over as well, because they don't love themselves. Like I was mentioning earlier, if everybody loved each other, if everybody loved themselves fully, like truly, truly love themselves. I mean, not on an egoic level, like, oh, I fucking love myself, you know, nothing like that. But if people actually love themselves enough to care for other people and to care for how they treat themselves, and also be open to other people having an opinion and saying, that's fine, that's great, that's your opinion, this is my opinion, let's get on with life, I'll be your best friend. I really don't, it doesn't bother me that you got a different opinion. If we can all live like that, then how easy would, you know, life would be so much easier and clearer with all of the distraction of the mind and of the ego. Yeah, so it's a big, it's a very, very deep subject, and it can go on for quite a long time, probably longer than any of the phone battery that I've got currently. But yeah, balancing the ego is probably one of the best things we can do. However, as we individually sort of switch on and awaken and connect back to our intuition and reduce the egoic mind a little bit, we automatically are having an effect on other people. The only thing about that is when that has the effect on other people, they start going through the same process that, you know, people like myself have been through, where during the pandemic, you know, I was to blame as well, to point at people and say, well, you're doing this and you're keeping this show going by doing that. But then you get to a point where you're just like, well, what is the point in me getting riled up, and it's not serving a purpose, and it's actually lowering my vibration. It's letting my ego rise back up. So then after some years of sort of like awareness work, you think, well, actually, you know, let's just listen to what the Buddha said. Don't try and calm the storm, calm yourself and the storm will pass. And as we've seen over the last sort of few years, a lot of stuff about that whole period of time is like come up and it's been exposed, and a lot of stuff has been shown. And yeah, but we all have to go through that. We all have to go through that process on some level. So yeah, it's never easy. It's not an easy journey. And I don't think anyone ever said it was going to be an easy journey, because it's life, you know. So we've got to battle. We've got to battle the ego, the mind. We've got to battle the physical, the emotional, the spiritual. We've got all of these things that are going on. So there's 4 kind of battles. There's the battle on the physical body from what we're consuming, not just eating and drinking, but also what we're watching and what we're listening to. So that's the battle on the physical. There's also the battle on the emotional and the mental level from what we're watching and what we're listening to and what we're taking on board energetically from other people and from global situations. And then we've got the battle on the spiritual level, which is a lot deeper than that as well. I feel people are so wrapped up in what's going on in their lives rather than taking a step back and being in nature and looking at what's going on. Yeah, absolutely, totally right. That is what they are. That is what they're doing. And all we can do really as practitioners is just keep going. We've got to just keep practicing what we preach. We've got to just keep doing the doings and doing what we do, and looking after ourselves, keeping ourselves in a nice harmonious place, being aware. It's not about shutting things off and ignoring what's going on, but just being aware of what is going on, of what's taking place globally and around the world and with other people. And if you do feel and sense disturbance in people, all you can do is you can just send them love. Send them compassion, send them love, send them some healing, send some healing to the earth, send some healing to whoever, you know, just, you know, you can just set that intention, you know, just I want to send some healing to that person. I want to help guide them on their way. So whatever belief system you believe in, whether you believe in God or the universe, universal energy healing, your spiritual energy, your guides, your helpers, whatever, you can just send them, you know, just say, You know, I ask for divine guidance to just help this soul on their way if they feel that they need it, if you feel that they need it. Because who are we to decide who needs the healing at the end of the day? Because we've still got to work on ourselves in that process. But yeah, it's very easy to get pulled and wrapped into the whole judgment game of what's going on and how it's taking place and who's doing what and what have you. But we've just got to be centered with ourselves. We've just got to be more at peace with ourselves, and have more compassion and love for ourselves, and send that compassion and love to those that need it as well. You know, that's probably one of the most powerful vibrations that we can emit, is that love vibration. Because it's almost like if we think in duality, so if you think of a dualistic concept, so you've got kind of hate and you've got love. So those are kind of like the polar opposites of each other. And if you think of it as like a triangle, so here you've got hate, over this side you've got love. In the middle of this triangle, I know that was a little bit kind of, but I'm not one of them, don't worry. But in the middle of that triangle, you've got indifference. You've got that stillness. You've got that it is what it is kind of mentality. Yeah, a lot of people do just shrug it off, but again, that's just their level of consciousness. It's just their level of where they're at, and you can't force it on people. And you know, quite a few of my clients recently over the last few years have been sort of quite butch, burly guys that are like big gym goers, you know, and or the work in industry, or factories or farms, and they've come for Reiki because they don't know where else to go. They don't want to look at themselves. They don't want to listen to themselves, but they know that there is something coming up on an egoic level. So for them to be aware of that, for them to use them words, then something is definitely happening. For people to become more aware consciously, they might not speak about it in the pub, or in the gym, or on the farm with other guys, because it might make them look a bit like, oh God, you know, you're one of them. But when you start seeing that as a practitioner over the last few years, then something's definitely changing and something's definitely happening in the consciousness, and especially the consciousness of men. Because I think women are already there. They're already in that receptive flow state. You know, women are very, very easy to accept a lot of gentle, nurturing things. You know, the divine feminine energy. But when the divine masculine energy comes up, and it needs to be harmonized with some divine feminine energy as well internally. So that's where they start looking more into divine feminine, but on that masculine level. Because the masculine energy is more about the actual creation and doing, and putting things out there, and the divine feminine energy is about nurturing and holding that space. So it's, you know, when guys come to me, you know, big guys, gym goers or whatever, when they come to me, then they're almost connecting to my divine energy, feminine energy, because we're all feminine and masculine. Our energy bodies are all of the two polarities of divine feminine and masculine, and eventually they have to come into harmony. They have to come into balance, and it's a bit like the the like I can't think of the name of it, but you know the medical insignia, and it's got like the two snakes that are going up the pole. That in effect is kind of like it's your energy body, the two snakes going up the pole being your spine. So when you, just recapping a little bit, when you're dealing with your emotions and when you're healing your emotions, you're polarizing the emotions. So you're getting access to them, and that's the pole. You're polarizing. The snakes that are going up either side, that's your chakras, your energy body that are flowing up either side. And that is also your divine masculine and feminine energy that is connected in there. So if you think of your when we think of the physical body, your divine masculine tends to be on the right side of your body. So that's kind of like your doing side. Your left side of the body is more to do with your feminine energy. So if you have any disturbances on one side of the body or the other, then there's something going on within those energy polarities, the masculine and the feminine. When you come to the brain, it's the other way around. So your feminine's on this side and your masculine's on that side, so it swaps over. And that's actually, you know, when you think physiologically of how your body works, you've got this left and right brain operation, the way it works in the brain. And so the left side of your brain works kind of like the right side of your body. So that's why it's switched over. That's like kind of like the wiring, and vice versa. So that's why the energy as well is in the same context, really. I can't remember what I was onto there, but yeah. So it's as those energies start rising up within the people, within humanity, within the collective. At the minute, we're seeing a lot of masculine energy coming up because there's a lot of like, I don't stand for this, and then they're taking all this away, and we're having to do this, they're putting them bills up. So there's a lot of the Viking energy and the warrior, the tribal energy is coming out in people right now. Very, very tribal energy that we see, and especially as people now as well, you see especially around the UK. I'm not sure about in the other countries, but people are getting into sort of like packs and gangs, and they're creating gangs against this and gangs against that, and then all these other gangs of different cultures and what have you. So it's very, very tribal, and it's, in one essence, it's quite interesting to watch, but also in the other essence, it's like you've got to take a step back from it as well a little bit, because it can be so overwhelming. And you know, when you start doom scrolling on TikTok and Facebook and you see all of these reels about all this stuff, it pulls you in. It really does pull you in, and you just gotta cut yourself off and pull yourself out and just have a bit of a breather from it, because it can be very, very overwhelming, very much so. So if you got any questions for me, do feel free to ask. I've been on for nearly an hour and 20 minutes now, so I am going to head off shortly, but you know, I'm going to open it up to you guys. If you've got any more questions with regards to spirituality, Reiki, meditation, mental health, anything really to do with that, anything that I cover on this channel, or if you want to know anything about me, then feel free to ask anything about me, as long as it's in the best nature, which I'm sure it will be, because it's been really lovely to connect with Mr. Clubber Lang. It's been really lovely to get your comments and your take on things as well, so thank you for your contribution. Mel Crow, sorry, hi, I've totally missed your message there, so I do apologise. So sorry about that. So yeah, so if you're still here, if you're still in the chat, let me know if you have any questions before I head off. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe to the channel to keep updated with any new releases of videos and shorts and lives, and you know, anything like that. So do subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up on the videos that you do watch, and do share them around. If you think they're going to help somebody, share them. If you find them constructive and helpful, please do share them. You're going to go now. Thanks for that. You seem like a laid back guy. No problem. No problem. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your compliments, and thank you for your time and energy. It really is appreciated. Much love, and take care. Yeah, so there's 2 left. I don't know. He might just be about to leave. I don't know. But yeah, so I am going to head off soon. But I hope you've enjoyed this chat today. I've really enjoyed it. I didn't know which way it was going to go. And I just kind of left it open. I just think sometimes it's nice just to connect one-to-one as best as we can via this media, and just to see what people are interested in, what they want to talk about. So yeah, I went a bit off the rails a little bit towards the end, where we were talking about energy at the end of the day and how the energy works around the world. So all that being said, I am going to head off now. There's no questions have come through, so thank you very much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure to connect and speak, and I will see you all soon in a video or in another live very soon. All right, much love. Take care. Bye for now. Bye bye.